Hey food fans, welcome back to another episode of Then We Eat. We're back with some more fresh ingredients today, straight out of the garden. This week we're going to be making cream of celery soup. So during the summer, what we do is when we need some celery, we just go off and snip off a little bit on the outside edges. It continually grows all summer. We're now approaching the time of year where things aren't going to grow much longer. So in this case, we've taken out the whole head of celery. So for this particular recipe, we're going to need around 14 stalks of celery. The one thing is, when you're buying them in the store, you're probably not going to get all this leaf. They'll probably cut them off somewhere back about there. The leaves are usable too, so we are going to use some of the leaves. Not too many, but we are going to use some for sure. Lots of flavor in the leaves. So first thing we're going to do is clean up a few of these stalks. The bits in the middle are really tender. They're really good. Alright, so we have about 14 stalks here. I'm just going to trim the edges off just to get rid of any of the roots that happen to be left. There's not a lot, but we'll just get off the last of that. There's quite a bit on the middle one. A little bit on that one. So now I'll just give this a quick chop. Now, there's two ways to do this. You can either, when it's finished, you can either blend it up or leave it as is. We are going to blend it a little bit, so I'm going to cut the celery fairly even in size. If you were going to puree it at the end, then it really doesn't matter as long as the sizes are roughly the same. You could cut them a little bigger, but for our purposes, we're just going to cut them in basically bite-sized pieces. One thing is, don't throw the leaves away. They're really good in soups, so you can just chop them up. They keep in the fridge for a couple of weeks, or you can freeze them as well. The other thing you can do is you can dry them and use them in soups and stews and stuff as well. So anyway, don't throw them out, they're still good use. So one more tip for you too, if you want to try growing your own celery, all you need to do is just save about that much of it and put it in a pot with some dirt, keep it watered. They do need a lot of water, and it will regrow to a full celery again. So if you've just got a small apartment, you don't have room like we do, you can give that a try. Okay, first thing we're going to start with is 4 tablespoons of butter. I think I have just a tad more than that, but we'll just let that melt down. Once we have the butter melted, we're going to go ahead and add the celery. And we're going to also add 1 medium sweet onion. Vidalias work really good for this if you have them. Gonna add a little salt and pepper. So we're just gonna let that cook down until it's tender. Probably take about between 5 and 10 minutes probably. So once you've got the veggies kind of softened up some, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of flour. And if you've seen some of our other videos, you know you just want to cook the flour until it starts to brown up a bit and it kind of smells more like cookie than it does flour. So just give that a bit of a stir. At the same time, I'm going to add 3 cloves of garlic. And again, I don't want the garlic to cook very long, just a minute or two, just to get a bit of aromatic from it. We don't want to burn it. Next, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of white wine to deglaze. So just try to scrape some of the bits off the bottom. And then we're going to add 6 cups of chicken stock. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not going to add all of the chicken broth. I don't think it's going to need it anyway. But it just depends on what consistency you want your soup. So I'm going to add about 4 cups now. So I'm just going to put a lid on that, let it cook a few more minutes, get the veggies a little more tender, let the flavors start to meld a bit. I think also I'm going to add a little more salt and pepper before I carry on, at least pepper. We'll hold off on the salt. Okay, we'll just let that cook down again for a few more minutes. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do, we got 1 cup of heavy cream, so we're going to put it in. In our case, we've used whipping cream. Give that a bit of a stir, let it heat back up. And once you've got it heated up, then we're going to add about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, finely grated. And give it a mix in. Okay, at this point, I'm just going to give it a taste, see if it needs anything else. Okay, it tastes pretty good, so I think we'll leave it there. It needs a little bit more black pepper, I think. We're going to add a little bit more. We're a little heavy on the black pepper in this house. So in this case, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a blend just to break up some of the vegetables, but I don't want it like a puree. Now, if you do, that's fine too. There's nothing the matter with that either way. But in our case, we're just going to give it a little bit of a burst. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, brand new whizzer. Last one caught fire, finally got it replaced. Yeah, I think that's good enough for me. So you can see there's still bits in it, but some of the celery's been busted up as well. So that's it. Give her a little taste. Yep, pretty tasty stuff. Yep, very tasty stuff. The celery really comes through. Fresh celery is so good compared to store-bought. It really brings out a really nice fresh flavor in this. Okay, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell to be notified every time we upload a new video. We generally upload a new video every Friday in the morning. And don't forget to share it with your friends, because I'm sure they'd love this recipe too. So until next time, don't forget, first we cook, then we eat. That is so good.